we seem to be getting no closer to the truth and no closer to resolving the matter.
In 2018, the National Commissioner established a cold case team in response to many calls on various criminal cases.
Welcome to this, the 12th installment of my dialogues with whistleblowers. Today I've got a whistleblower who's added a voice to blowing the whistle on the criminal justice system as a whole. Now, social workers can't do our jobs properly unless the criminal justice system is functioning. It's not for us to judge anyone. It is for the police to investigate the crimes, identify suspects, follow the evidence, make arrests, and press charges. Then it's for the state to make the case and the defense lawyers to argue against it, so that a magistrate or judge, after rigorous cross-examination, can come to a conclusion as to whether an accused is guilty beyond reasonable doubt. It's relatively easy to come to a conclusion on the past because hindsight is an exact science and the evidence really doesn't lie. There's general agreement that justice delayed is justice denied. So what does one do when justice is delayed for so long that it becomes not just a question of justice denied, but injustice compounded? What does one do when the wheels of justice turn so slowly that an accused might be released on bail because the prosecution can't get its act together and the prisons are so overcrowded, magistrates just let them out? Now, that's not a hypothetical example. A few months ago I was told by a friend who's an eyewitness to a gang rape in Bazana in the Eastern Cape that the two people that he had caught and got arrested were released on bail without a proper bail hearing, simply because they said the prisons were too overcrowded. And they were released back into the very community within which their victim lives. Now, more recently, the alleged killers of Senzo Meyisa were also granted bail, leaving another good friend and whistleblower, Thabiso Zulu, fearing for his life because they are on record of saying they want to see him killed.
3 of the 4 suspects accused of the murder of Senzo Meyisa have been granted 5,000 rand bail each. Meyisa, who was an ANC councillor, was shot a few kilometers away from his home in KwaZulu-Natal back in 2017. Vanessa Berger is an independent community activist for human rights and social justice. She has a lot more questions than answers following the granting of that bail. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for joining us this afternoon. Perhaps just a brief background in terms of why this case matters so much to you.
Well, it shouldn't just matter to me. It should matter to everyone in South Africa, actually, because, political assassinations, killings of this nature, are a direct threat to our democracy, well, what's left of our democracy, to socio-economic stability and to national security even. So they don't only affect, the immediate people concerned, the affected parties, the family. It should be of public interest generally. When these kind of things happen and justice is not seen to be being done, and there's a lot of sort of smoke and mirrors going on around the details of the case, it raises a lot of very worrying questions about what is actually happening in our judiciary, and we all need to stand up and take notice.
That story you can read about in one of the links below. But today I want to look at the other side of justice delayed. When somebody stands accused of a crime that he strongly denies having even committed, yet languishes in custody without so much as a proper pleading. Now, I'm going to explore that question with the sister of someone in that position, who, together with 4 others, stands accused of killing Senzo Meyiwas 8 years ago. The accused is Advocate Maselela and his sister is Sinqobile. Now, Sinqobile has been waging a campaign on social media to expose what she asserts is a gross miscarriage of justice. Well, I will leave you to judge for yourself whether she is correct, but I would also implore you that if you are convinced and similarly disturbed as I am about this, that you use whatever influence you have to write to the Minister of Police, the Minister of Justice, the President, whoever else, National Prosecuting Authority, to protest what looks like to me as another long-standing instance of injustice compounded. Remember, it's not my job as a social worker to pass judgment, but I can't do my job as a social worker unless those who populate the criminal justice system do theirs.
Sinqobile, I've been so looking forward to this conversation, especially since I learned that you are, in fact, from a place that I have very fond childhood memories of, Nongoma. When I was growing up, my uncle was the medical superintendent at the Benedictine Hospital.
Oh, that's where I was born.
Yes, that's where you were born. We used to visit, I was from Dundee, and used to go with my family to play with our cousins there. And I just have very fond memories of that when I was about a 5 or 6 year old. Oh. What's it like today? I mean, I guess it's changed a bit, and I haven't been there a long time.
I guess before there was lack of economy, like it was just a rural place, like very, very rural. So now they've upgraded, economy took over, so yeah, it's a bit of a better place now.
What do you do now?
Now I'm an actress, a field researcher. I'm also an admin and a marketing director for the News Live SA. So I do a lot of things at once because I'm also a brand ambassador of the Kuzani perfume. Also starting my own business, so it's still new, but it's coming okay. Yes.
Well, Sinqobile, when I met you first, it was at a human rights conference at the University of Pretoria in early December, where we were examining the question of whether South Africa's moved from state capture to a police state. And you were there to speak about the experience that you and your brother have had to go through. And you have been waging a social media campaign to try and bring justice into the system, and really exercised what I can see is really active citizenship. And that's why I'm here, to actually hear your story and for you to just tell me a little bit more about what happened there. And I thought, just to frame it, I want to just quickly play for you a statement made by the Minister of Police.
The media. Good afternoon to you all. Today marks exactly 6 years since former Bafana Bafana and Orlando Pirates captain Senzo Meyiwa was shot dead. His murder, which took place in Phosphorus in Ekurhuleni, brought the Meyiwa family immeasurable pain. It also sent shock waves across the country and the continent. South Africans from all corners joined the Meyiwa family in demanding justice for this brutal murder. But with no arrest, hope of whether or not Senzo Meyiwa's killers would be found began to fade away for some, but not for us in the South African Police Service. Despite heavy criticism from some quarters, we have always maintained that we are satisfied the murder investigation is progressing well. I have on numerous occasions also expressed my confidence that those suspected of this crime will be found and brought to book. Ladies and gentlemen, I still stand by this statement. 2018, the National Commissioner established a cold case team in response to many calls on various criminal cases which have not been successfully investigated. Months later, the murder case of Senzo Meyiwa was assigned to the cold case unit. Since then, the unit has worked tirelessly on this case. During these past 2 years, the Senzo Meyiwa murder case generated speculations of who could have been responsible for the sports icon murder. Despite this, the investigators never lost sight of their work at hand. While those speculations were rife, the case also attracted much media attention and media leaks touching on some aspects of the investigation. Members of the media, we really condemn these leaks and strongly believe that information may have been leaked in an attempt to derail the investigations. This is why, moving forward, the investigation team will be considering opening a case or cases of defeating the ends of justice to ensure such leaks never occur again. Despite this interference, the cold case team persevered. After gathering sufficient intelligence information and evidence, I am happy to announce that there has been a breakthrough in the Senzo Meyiwa murder case. The first 5 suspects have been arrested between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. this morning in Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. These arrests are as a result of multidisciplinary integrated approach to this investigation, which is working closely with the Director of Public Prosecution. The South African Police Service and the prosecution team are confident that we have a watertight case against all 5 suspects. At this point, we cannot reveal any further information as investigations are still ongoing and more arrests cannot be ruled out. In conclusion, for us in the police service, it was always important to take time and work thoroughly on this case to ensure
Okay, now
justice
let's
for
start
Senzo
there.
Meyiwas.
What's your reaction to what Minister Bheki Cele had to say?
No, it was quite a disgrace seeing him that proud, saying he's got the right people, he's made the arrest. So it was quite a disgrace for the whole Minister of Police to be doing such a thing, because I think the whole world knows that it was false accusations. Those accusations were so false, because one, if he says those people were hitmen, a hitman will never use 1 bullet to kill, never. A hitman will not kill only 1 person in the house. And then the rest of the people, what happened to them? Why are the people who were in the house not questioned about what transpired that evening when Senzo died?
But now one of the accused is your brother. Is he a person that would do such a thing?
But what I know is that he's not capable of the death of Senzo Meyiwa.
Yeah. But I mean, you've shown a remarkable commitment as a sister to actually challenge us. And I get a sense that you're saying it's not just about him. It's about the criminal justice system.
Yes, because that's why I spoke about all the 5. I didn't just say my brother. I spoke about all the 5 accused that no, they didn't do this thing. I mean, the police know the whole truth. Okay, my first question was, what happened to that voice clip that was going around of Tumelo calling the Meyiwa saying, Baba Senzo, Senzo sekashonile la ulong ithwala sekamdubulile. Hello, Senzo's dead. Senzo is dead. He was shot here by long ethwala. Was mistakenly shot by long ethwala. Why didn't they take that and went for a question? Why didn't they question Long? Why didn't they question Utumela about that call he made to the Meyiwas? Because that clip is there, they have it. Why are they not using it? In the background, Kelly Kumalo was screaming, crying, asking what is she gonna say to Senzo's mom. That clip is going around. I mean, a lot of people knows it, even the police. Why are they not paying attention to it?
So there's a question that there's been some interference in what should be due process, a proper, impartial, independent process of the police investigating properly. Tell us a bit about the circumstances specifically, as you know them, of your brother and maybe the others that you know.
What I do recall is that, if I'm not mistaken, Mube was long arrested way before Senzo's death occurred. That was the first question at hand. How was he gonna shoot someone whilst he was in jail when Senzo died? And then my brother was arrested the same month of Senzo's death, just I'm not sure of the dates, but it's the same month.
But on another charge, wasn't it?
Yes, on another charge.
What was that?
It was a charge of murder. It was a case of him being at the wrong place at the wrong time. That's why he was granted an appeal, and the appeal was going just fine. He was about to appear in court when they came to charge him with the Senzo Meyiwa case. That's why his appeal was on hold. Because he did make an appeal saying he was not involved in that crime that he was accused for. Well, I don't go with him. I don't know about that. I only got a call when he was arrested. I questioned him. He said no, it was a wrong arrest. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people. That's how he ended up in jail. And then there was no evidence found against him.
So has that appeal been heard?
So when the appeal was about to be processed, that's when they came to charge him with the Senzo Meyiwa case, and then his appeal was then put it on hold.
I see. So he was actually in custody. He was there.
Yes.
And he and the 4 other people accused were, what looks to me, opportunistically framed
Yes.
to leave the impression, as Bheki Cele said, is that the police have now basically cracked the case.
You see, so he was using people that he knew were already in jail in the case of murder. So he just related the two. The sad part is there are 2 guys there who were so wrongfully accused, which is Bongani Ntanzi and Moses Bia. Bongani Ntanzi, if I'm not mistaken, he was working in a mine in Carlsonville. And with Muzi, I'm not sure where he was working, but where he was working, it's his father who take him to that work, where his father used to work. So those 2 don't even know how to hold a gun, for that matter. They were not even friends with my brothers. Muzi is way too old to be friends with them. They used to call Muzi uncle. So we don't know how these 5 ended up in one place. Imagine 5 people from the same township being arrested. What kind of coincidence is that? 5 people from the same place. Bheki Cele painted them all together just because they are from the same township, and I don't know, either he did his research to like make these people together to arrest them, to get all of them together. I don't know.
But now what happened?
What I know is that it was Colonel Joyce Buthelezi and Detective Makuba who were running this case, and they were cracking it just fine. To my surprise, there was a case against them for doing the case correctly. They were charged with kidnapping of Mthokozisi. Mthokozisi is one of the people who were in the house when that accident transpired there in the Khumalo house.
Progress was actually being made by one investigation team, and then all of a sudden there was an interference
They changed
where
the investigation.
I think it's Captain Kaninda was suddenly assigned to this, and suddenly a whole new kind of direction emerged and another case was opened.
Colonel Buthelezi and Detective Makuba were doing this thing correctly.
Which of course looks highly, highly suspicious, particularly around the timing, because that was, you know, when Minister Bheki Cele was now appointed as a Minister of Police, and apparently President Ramaphosa had said, look, you want to solve this crime because it's been going on for too long. So they're not acting in the way in legal terms they say you've got to act without fear, favour or prejudice. You've got to follow the evidence. And you're saying these folks...
They're not following the evidence. They're just doing what's best suits them just because they want to claim their status of being the right police, whereas they're arresting the wrong people. To my surprise, they're not even ashamed as to how the whole world responded to their arrest. I mean, my brothers were all over YouTube news, and there were comments in the comment section. Everyone was so against their arrest, but then that didn't even made them to be ashamed that they're doing the whole thing wrong. And then they've been telling us about this mastermind. Till date, they haven't exposed the mastermind. We've been waiting for the mastermind.
Yeah, they say that there was a conspiracy, and these were the young, your brother included, were part of the gang that were contracted to go and do a hit.
And the surprising part is, this case number of my brothers does not exist. If you take this case number, their case number, what they are charged of, it does not exist in the police system. Senzo Meyiwa has been punching it. He works in the police station. He's been punching the case number since day one. It does not exist. How does people appear in the court of law in a case that is not on the police system? How does that happen? After that campaign I made on social media, Senzo Meyiwa called me and told me that, no sister, don't worry, we will work on this together, because we know the people arrested are not the right ones. We've got records of who killed our brother. We know we did receive a call the very same night when he was shot, that we know who shot him. So we're surprised to be seeing these 5 people in court. And recently there's a statement by Uzandile Kumete, who's now Kumete, it was Zandile Khumalo then, Kelly Khumalo's sister. On her statement, he was asking, she don't know what the police are doing, because it's them who are in the house, and they've never seen those guys before. They only started seeing those guys on TV, and there's no one who get in house and shot anyone inside the house. Why are they not questioning them? Why are they not taking Zandile's statement into consideration?
Yeah, I mean, as a social worker, I always help my clients to say, look, you know, don't just simply curse the darkness, light the candle, exercise agency, use your constitutional rights in a way that means, in a responsible way, to expose and challenge injustice. And I'm just so impressed with what you did. Now tell me about how you got into the social media campaign, what you did, particularly because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people out there who can also be aware of a gross miscarriages of justice, and we need active citizenship like you. So give us a bit of that story.
I believed that social media is a platform that is used by millions and millions of people, not just in South Africa, but internationally. And as this case, we all know this case is not now a matter of a national case, it's an international case now. You see, there are people from the United States, from overseas, who are so interested in this case. So seeing that they've made their wrongful arrest, especially that it involves my brother or my cousins and stuff. So I said, no, let me use the social media platform. It's the only way for me to go through this thing, to get hold of maybe someone who's above Bheki Cele, because I wouldn't say to get to Bheki Cele because he failed his work dismally. So there's nothing you can say to Bheki Cele and Ukininda. They both failed their work, because Ukininda is the one who went around our families arresting those who were outside. For those who were inside, they just charged them from the inside. So the other two who were outside, it's Kininda who was going around threatening them, promising their families money. So after hearing all those stories, I said, no, let me expose those people. I know once I write to social media, it will reach the right people who will do the right thing in the end. It's not everyone who can be cruel or who will side with them or who will take what they are doing seriously. Some people out there need to hear, and then I played as my brother's voice. Like, they needed someone from the outside. They have got nothing to do from the inside. I'm the one, I've got a cell phone from the outside, I've got social media. They don't have access to all of them, so they've got no voice. So I played as their voice.
And then you said in Senzo Meyiwa got hold of that, saw that, made connection with you, and you suddenly realized, hey, you know, connect the dots.
Okay, and then after that, we had the story of these 5 suspects. That 5 suspects have been arrested. And we don't buy a story of those 5 suspects. It was not going to be difficult to tell me that suspects came inside the house and shot my brother. That was not going to be difficult. It is difficult because they are making up a story. No, these people are lying. They must be charged. All these people who are inside the house, they must go to court and tell us what happened.
You were vindicated in your intuition that there's something wrong here. And I think that's, for me, what I would want to say to people who are in a similar situation, is that, you know, extend your network and don't just rely on your own intuition alone. Wait for it to be, as it were, confirmed, or in some way some triangulation happens where it connects with something else. Because what you are doing, you're not just being an active citizen, you've been an active detective. You are busy now following the evidence.
Yes, I did collect the evidence. I made calls when needs be. And I've been getting threats, but then I paid no attention. So there was some guy in my Facebook.
Threats? Say some more about that.
Yes, there was a guy on my Facebook. His name on Facebook is Stevovo. I saved his peak. Okay, he had hidden his peak when he was commenting on my post, threatening me there and threatening me on my inbox. Immediately after the threat, once he sees that I've read the threat, he will immediately delete it. Lucky enough, I've screenshotted some things and saved them on my device. So I've been keeping his name on my mind. And then there was a time where, after some time, maybe a year or so, maybe it was last year, I went to his Facebook again, only to find out that his Facebook is now open. And then I saved some few pictures. I sent them to Sfiso and the Advocate Teffo. And then they said he looks familiar. They know him from the police services and stuff. So they've been trying to find out who is he. I've been getting calls of private numbers threatening me, telling me to drop whatever I'm doing because it will put me in danger. You know, those kind of threats saying I don't know who I'm dealing with. But then I told them one thing, that if I die, I die. That's my brother in jail. He's the only older brother I've got.
What also is bizarre is that Advocate Dan Teffo got involved with this with a watching brief from the Meyiwa family, from Senzo Meyiwas. And he's now being instructed on behalf of the accused, including your brother.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know of any other instances where the same advocate simultaneously is representing the interests of the family of the deceased and the people that are charged with the murder of him. Bheki Cele goes and tells the world that he's now made a big breakthrough and the police did not rest. You have shown us what can be done. Now, what inspired you to do that? What got you going? Where did that come from?
I'd say it just came from within, because no one and nothing pushed me. It was late at night when I made that post. Like, it just came to my mind that, no, I can't let my brother and his friends suffer like this for something they did not do. And then I just made that post. To my surprise, it made about 10,000 shares.
God.
Yes, it went to Twitter, it went to Instagram, and then I've been getting some mentions and tags from Twitter. It even went as far as to Berger. He posted it on his Twitter page. That where I guess I got the more of a breakthrough. That's where I made Advocate, if I'm not mistaken. That where he saw that post, and then everyone tried to get hold of me. I just posted my numbers there, and because I had nothing to hide, so I just gave everyone my numbers. If there's anyone who's able to help, the only thing I needed was help, and then the social media and the newspapers to make this thing like viral. Like I needed everyone to share. I needed everyone to hear out. As I said before, I wanted to be the voice for the wrongfully accused.
I'm just sitting in absolute awe of you. And what really, just two last things with you, and maybe just in terms of why this has been so helpful for me personally, and why I've now focused on the criminal justice system. 6 years ago now, in the same month, in March 2016, the day after Human Rights Day, one of my friends, a person that I was working with in the Amadiba community in Kolobeni, was shot and killed in a brutal murder because of his opposition to the awarding of mining rights at Kolobeni to the foreign Australian mining company. And we were desperate to think, well, how can we possibly get justice? And it's 6 years later, there's still no arrest. There's still no prosecution. And what I'm just thinking is, as I share the story with the son of Bazuka Khadebe, he will be inspired as well. Because when I last saw him a couple of months ago, he was still waiting, still hoping that the Hawks would be doing something, still hoping that things would happen. And I think we are beginning, if your case succeeds, if Minister Bheki Cele is fired, and I'm saying that emphatically, folk, because there's no way that President Ramaphosa can have any confidence in the transformation and renewal of the South Africa, throwing off the grave clothes of state capture, unless there is a total and thorough clean-out in the top structures of the SAP, and that an appointment is made of somebody who is absolutely independent and impartial, who does a professional job. Anything else that you would like to be known? Any words that you want to give of encouragement to other people?
The only thing I'd say is that people should not keep inside what's bothering them when it comes to injustice in this world, because justice is not being rightfully served in our country. I won't lie. As long as Minister Bheki Cele is still the Minister of Police, there will be a lot of wrongful arrest. There will be a lot of bribery. Because I for one, I believe that the reason why Longwe Twala is not being arrested is because he's the son of Chico Twala, and Chico Twala is married and is of ANC and is a friend of Bheki Cele. In South Africa, if you are poor, hungry, you will be arrested. You will be used as somebody else's, I don't know, either a doormat or a scapegoat, I don't know what to call it. But as long as you don't have money, you don't have power, you don't have a voice, they will keep on using you.
This is not just about the criminal justice system, this is about our ethics and values. Lastly, Sinqobile, I'm fond of quoting that lovely saying from a Jesuit spiritual director. He says, "It's common to oppose a truth, but impossible to resist a story."